Christian from Frank About Beer, and it is time for another Virtual Beers with an amazing member of the craft beer community. As always, I hope this finds you happy, healthy, safe, um, and a big shout out to our first responders and essential employees for making life bearable for all of us. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. A couple quick notes right off the top. As always, if you're looking for a great brewery around Maryland, be sure to check out mdcraftbeer.net. My friend Kendrick at Maryland Craft Beer has put together an awesome spreadsheet and database of every Maryland brewery. And you can find out great things like, are they dog friendly? Do they have outdoor seating for COVID? Do they do delivery pickup or stuff in their available there at the brewery? All of that stuff is there. He's done an awesome job at it. I will have that that link in the show notes tomorrow morning on Frank About Beer's Facebook page. Additionally, the friends like the Brewers Association of Maryland, also known as BAM, is a great organization that really does a lot for the craft beer industry here in Maryland, and the breweries that make up that community. And they've not been able to run a couple of their larger fundraisers this year, including the Maryland Craft Beer Festival in Frederick and the Baltimore Craft Beer Festival in Baltimore. That are big fundraisers for them, and they can really use a bit of your help. If you can kick a couple bucks their way, they would be greatly appreciative of it. Whatever you would spend on a 6-pack or a 4-pack, or even a ticket to one of their festivals, kick it their way. It'll go a long way towards helping a great organization that helps out the breweries that you love. You can do them on PayPal or at BeerMe. I have links for those that'll be there tomorrow as well in the show notes on Frank About Beer's Facebook page. You can find them at paypal.me/sofasippin'. And I'm not exactly sure what the BeerMe link is, but I will have that tomorrow morning as well. So friends, I always like to find really interesting people in the community, and we've had several brewers that were brand new. We've had some that have been around a long time. And friends, if you've been in the Maryland beer community for a while, you are familiar with Jailbreak Brewing Company in Laurel, Maryland. They came out of the gate several years ago, and I think maybe now about 5 years ago, with some really solid beers, including Welcome to Scoville and others. And they've just been killing it ever since. And friends, I am really thrilled tonight to get a real beer celebrity with us tonight. I know I say that every week, but I'm pretty sure it is this week. Friends, this week I'd like to introduce you to our friend Justin Bonner, the founder and CEO of Jailbreak Brewing Company in Laurel. Justin, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh man, well, we are friends as always. We're here for Virtual Beers. Let us know in the comments what you're drinking tonight, and be sure to if you have questions or anything, feel free to post them in the comments, and we'll get around to them. I see our friend Gary in Frederick is already with us. Gary, good to see you as always. Let us know what you're drinking, man. So Justin, let's start it out. What do you have in your glass tonight?
Tonight is the White Russian. So it's we just finally released it for this season. So it's officially we release it maybe tomorrow, maybe Saturday. I never know when these events are, but yeah. So it's November through February. So we all look forward to the White Russian. It's by far our biggest seasonal.
And what style of beer is that?
So it's a cream ale base, and then we cold brew ceremony coffee in-house and add Tahitian vanilla. It's got a little bit of lactose in it, but not very much, just enough to give it a little additional mouthfeel, but just trying to recreate the cocktail in a beer.
Yeah, really. Any of you big Lebowski fans need to get on this ASAP, that's for sure. It is awesome. So yeah, let's see. Jessica's drinking Citra Lady Friend. There you go. The variation on Special Lady Friend. Now you guys have we talked about it at the beginning of the show, some of your regular beers, but you have some great flagships, including Infinite Amber, Special Lady Friend IPA, Big Punisher IPA, which honestly is one of my favorites. I just rediscovered that recently, where it was like, damn, that is a really good beer. I'm honestly tired of the hazies, but I love a good West Coast, and man, Big Punisher's right there. Um, and of course, Feed the Monkey, Hefeweizen, another really solid beer, along with things like White Russian. And of course, the special ones like Jessica, like the Citra Lady Friend, like you're drinking tonight. And Steve says, yeah, Stephanie and I are going with the Infinite Amber. Let me know how you like that one. I know you guys told me about that. So Justin, so let's back on up. I want to say you guys have been around, what, 5 years now? Almost
Okay,
6?
7. We're seniors in the game.
Okay, all right. So 7
We're
years.
the old people.
Let's go on back. How did Jailbreak get started?
So my business partner and I, we were in the tech world, so tech, cybersecurity, and after a collective 25 years, while the money was great, it was passionless work. So, we needed to escape and do something else, and we really couldn't talk about our work with the field that we were in. So, so we wanted to be able to kind of create a product and share it. So we decided, just kind of on a whim, to break away, escape that world, or make a jailbreak, if you will, and start a brewery. So now we knew nothing about brewing whatsoever. I'm a wine geek, and and why I enjoy beer in general. We didn't have a lot of experience in brewing, so we weren't home brewers. So we went out, and I was lucky enough to be introduced to kind of the second in command of Dogfish Brewing, and so he agreed to come on board, and he brought with him the third in command. So we got 2 of the top guys. We were able to kind of steal away from Dogfish, and yeah, went from there and let them kind of do their thing, but with us kind of providing a lot of inspiration along the way.
Oh, cool. The so you mentioned that you're a big wine guy. I know there's a couple of wine friends who are watching. What are your go-to wines?
These days it's like it's been an evolution. I think everyone who enjoys maybe it's not just alcohol, but anything in life, they go through an evolution. Maybe it's they like certain cars. They start off with SUVs and go to sports cars, whatever it is. I mean, for wine, for me, I started off 20 years ago with big California cabs and super extracted, concentrated oaky wines, and kind of found my way through the world and through into France. And then for the most part, I would say probably 70% of what I drink now is Burgundy. So French Pinot Noir and Chardonnay.
Love it. Oh, nice. Well, cool. Well, we'll get back to, friends. We're going to circle back around to the wine thing in a little bit, but so you guys, you said you made a jailbreak from your day-to-day lives, which all of us probably envy you, at least on Monday mornings, if not by Fridays as well. You picked up some great talent off the just from the get-go. What were some of your first beers that you guys made? Do you remember?
What was that?
What were some of your first beers that you guys made?
Well, weirdly enough, when we started off, we were doing a lot of, we wanted to really work with real ingredients. I mean, we saw a lot of kind of beers using, what they call all natural extracts. So we wanted to work with real products, and so we ended up to prove it. We went out and we got our kosher certification, our Star K. Weirdly enough, none of us are Jewish, but we wanted to really prove to people that there's real ingredients in this stuff. So we actually were making a lot of fruited beers early on, and at the time, people just could not wrap their head around it. They're like, "What is this? What is this crap in my glass? Like, it's super fruit forward." They weren't into it. So along the way, we were making, making some standard styles as well. So we kind of pulled back on the fruited beers, and I guess we were a few years too early, because now fruited beers, with real purees and fruits are the big thing. So, so we kind of fell into some core styles, like Feed the Monkey. Our double IPA was the Big Punisher. Actually, Big Punisher was the first beer we ever canned. So yeah, bringing a lot of these to life. In fact, we didn't even have a regular IPA until about 2 years in.
Hmm.
It was only the double IPA was the only IPA in our portfolio. So,
Oh.
yeah, so it's, but we've
Never realized that.
we've grown quite a bit since then.
Yeah. Well, how big is your setup now?
So we have a 20 barrel brew house, a 4 vessel, and I think we have fermentation capacity for about 400 barrels.
Oh, wow.
So we can do anything as small as a single batch, 20 barrels, so roughly 600 gallons. Our larger fermenters are 60 barrels, so we can triple brew into those and make closer to 2,000 gallons. So, we're able to, we're able to keep up with our core beers and the demand there, and also have tanks that are small enough to accommodate some unique styles.
Yeah. Yeah. And friends, if you probably can't take the brew house tour nowadays, but at some point in the future, definitely take the tour there. You'd be amazed how big the facility is, how clean it is. It's beautiful. I remember turning the corner at one point and seeing a bunch of barrels along one end of the wall, and just started reading the ends of the barrels, seeing that they were bourbon and God whatever else, and just I wanted to take a few of them home, and they stopped me before I got to the door, unfortunately. Um, you guys, and honestly, that really surprised me, because I'm a big fan of, a lot of your core beers and a lot of your special ones, but I hadn't realized till that moment how big you guys were into barrel aging beers. And one of my favorites is Dusk to Dusk, which is a barrel aged imperial stout or porter, I'm
Right.
not
Yeah.
sure. And friends, it is delicious. Like, if you're into barrel aged beers, this honestly has to be one of my top three. I'm going on the record and saying that right now. But I know you guys have done quite a few different barrel aged beers. What do you kind of look for in those, and are there any that really stand out to you as being outstanding?
Well, we started, early on, there were two passions of mine in getting into this that I wanted to see through. One was the barrel aged dark beers.
Mhm.
And so we were putting stuff in barrel early, very early, and we were putting a lot of it in. So we knew that whatever we put in barrel, we couldn't use 100% of it. Barrels are a tricky thing; they have a life of their own. So it's some would turn out great, and some would just eventually be dumped. So the barrel aged stouts were one of the things, and then the barrel aged sours were another. So the stouts, though, we've had a great evolution in what we've done with that. But yeah, I would say that we don't make a lot of the what you call kind of the pastry stouts today. The big, the 1,200 calories a can, marshmallow, chocolate, graham cracker, macadamia, you name it, it's in there. We don't make a lot. We make a few that are interesting, but as far as pastry style, but we love the old school method of just barrel aging, and how that changes, and how the beer evolves in its little wooden casket there. So,
what kind of things? I know from my experience with wine, but also knowing that you're a big wine aficionado. What kind of things do you look for in a great beer?
Look for in a great beer. Honestly, it could be. I drink mostly. If the beers I drink are mostly lagers, pilsners. So when I'm drinking those, I look for clean. Just a good clean beer, and some of the bigs, do a pretty good job in consistency as well. With clean, consistent beers. So that's kind of there's some great local versions as well.
Yeah.
Though I think while I think some of the ourselves included, are making some good lagers, they're not always consistent, and so I think that's a big piece of it. As far as barrel aged beer, complexity. It's the same thing I look for in wine. It's the same thing you might look for in if you drink bourbon or anything else. You want to ponder on it a little bit. You want to sip it, not chug it. And so if you're sipping on it and you're drinking it slow, chances are you're thinking about it a little bit. So that's what I look for.
Yeah. Let's see. Looking at the show or the comments, Celine was curious. Where do you get your barrels from?
Now I can't answer these comments on here, can I? I
Oh,
got to speak.
oh yeah, go ahead and speak to them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so early on, it was for us, it was really important to get the right barrels. So we were able to go out and get a number on the bourbon side, get a number of Weller barrels. So some Stag barrels, some WL Weller barrels, which is part of their really ultra expensive now antique series. We like to bring in different barrels. We brokered a deal because we couldn't really find any. We brokered a deal with Cruzon to bring in an entire shipping container, about almost 100 of their barrels, of their older aged rums.
Nice.
Yeah, so we do that. We do some bourbon barrels that then aged maple syrup in them, and then we'll use them. We like to use local as well if we can. Sagamore is one that comes to mind that we try to use quite a bit, and for a certain flavor profile. But yeah, we try to use high quality always, and local when we can.
Yeah, Sagamore Rye is my new jam. Like I just discovered that not too long ago, and I'm usually not a rye fan. Man, that is good. So now I really want to come steal a couple barrels out of your cellar, and roll them out the door before somebody catches me. I love it.
Hey, come on, Bob.
Yeah, really. Yeah, the one event you guys held this last year, I think, and I missed it. I kicked myself for it because I couldn't get to go. Something came up and I couldn't make it. But you guys did like a barrel aged beer fest or something, maybe a year ago. That had just everything sounded amazing and everything was like 12%, and I would have loved I would have happily camped out in your parking lot on an air mattress overnight just to be able to go and taste everything.
That was really cool. I mean, early on, unfortunately, we didn't make enough and we couldn't see into the future. So we would pretty much consume almost everything that was put into a keg or a can, and we didn't leave a lot in the library. So as years go on, we try each time to hold a little back, and put cans and kegs in the library, and so we can bring them out years later. But the last barrel age event, I don't know that we'll be able to replicate that for some time, because we had some sixtel kegs in the library that were the last ones. I mean, and some were only really ever 10 or 12 sixtels were created. That's it. Oh, just single barrel releases. So yeah. So, but we have some older stock, and so we go to them sometimes. Actually, when we figure out we have enough of something, we'll when the weather gets cold, we'll go to the library, pull out a keg, hook it up to the kegerator, and have fun.
Oh, I'm gonna have to start talking to Becca and get the hotline of when that stuff's coming out. Well, actually, if you have a second, so friends, before we jumped on, Justin and I were sitting here talking a bit about dusk to dusk. I was wondering, if you could, you and I were, oh, there you go. Oh man, there, out of his own personal,
hot and bothered.
Oh, I love it. Could you tell us a little bit about, you mentioned certain years have a better profile than others. And can you talk about some of the blending that you guys do to get those flavors that you're really looking for?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, last year's version, this is the 2019 I have right here. This one, the oldest barrel in the blend was aged for 66 months. So we'll make different bases of stouts, and we'll put them in, we make what we call our base Dust Till Dusk, and we'll put those in a variety of barrels, and that's rye, bourbon, rum, and some other stuff that we'll try to mess around with a little bit. And then we make a lighter version, which is not the super rich, 13% plus base. We'll pull it back and we'll make it about 9.5, 10%. A little different base. We'll age those. And then we also age throughout the year. We make a few batches of English barley wine. Sometimes we release those by themselves. Sometimes a barrel will sneak into the final blend of Dust Till Dusk. And so so every year we hold back barrels. And so every year that goes by that we're kind of creating our Dust Till Dusk, we have older barrels to choose from. And we have more barrels. So the first year, I think we had I don't know, 20 barrels to choose from, and we chose, I think it was like 4.
Wow.
That would make the cut. Some weren't good at all, and we dumped them. Some weren't ready; they weren't mature enough yet. And in 2017, I think that was about an 8-barrel blend. 18, and then 19 last year. I think last year was a 16-barrel blend.
Wow.
But of that, we had to choose. I think we had about 70 some barrels that we had to taste through. We take notes on each one. Each one has its own personality and brings something different to the table. And we kind of, once we have each of those barrels tasted, we kind of try to wrap our head around what are we looking for that particular vintage, that particular year. And then we try to piece together the barrels that will make up what we're thinking, what's in our minds, as you know. So yeah, so I mean, we're actually blending right now for the 2020 version, and there's actually a couple of really nice 6.5-year-old barrels, so 72 to 78 months they've been aging, and brings some really cool characteristics to the table. So that'll probably, at least 1 or 2 of those will make the final blend.
Oh, cool. Well, cool. Well, friends, we sort of teased it early on, and since we're talking about barrel aging stouts and things like that, the you sour fans know that there is barrel aging that happens with sours as well. And Justin, I understand that you guys are starting a brand new project that sour beer lovers are going to want to know about.
Yeah, absolutely. So from day one, I think even when I was doing tours around our facility before we were even serving beer, I talk a lot about, the dream is to have this great mixed fermentation barrel sour wild ale program. Mm-hmm. And so back then, I mean, there was very few people. I mean, still, there's not a whole lot of the beer drinking population knows much about these beers, but very few knew about it then. And so people would just, I could see their eyes gloss over when I'm telling them about this. So I would kind of quickly move on to the next topic. But, these beers are tough because, I mean, you have to age pretty much a minimum of 2 years, if not 3 to 5 years, to be able to kind of get a product that's worthwhile. And there's a big investment. You have to, the fooders and barrels and everything else you have to stock up on and cool ship, and you have the facility, and then you've got to pay X amount of rent on a facility for years before you actually bring in $1. So, and then also the obvious is with these wild ales, the bacteria and the wild yeast, if they happen to kind of proliferate in your brewery, then pretty much every beer you make is going to end up sour, and we didn't want that. So we weren't taking any chances. So we kind of shelved that project. And about 2 years ago, we had kind of tucked away enough money and to kind of start the project. Some of the people on the team weren't super excited about it, and another half of it was very excited. Mm-hmm. It just means more work, and a lot of love and energy kind of goes into it. So our head brewer Clay, he took up the program. And we started making beer at Jailbreak and putting them in barrels and sending them over to the new facility to sour. And now we cool ship, which is a different method. But so I think we have over there probably 15,000 gallons or more of beer that's aging. I think it's a couple hundred barrels from anything from your normal like bourbon size, which is kind of a 225 liter barrel up to 500 liter barrels. And it smells funky. It is funky. And it's something I think that, we're really, so we packaged our first 2 about 6 months ago, and they take a while to bottle condition. So we don't carbonate them in tank. We allow them to naturally carbonate or condition in bottles. So we have 750 milliliter, basically champagne type bottles that we had custom made in Italy. We went on a boat and brought them over, and we'll have a cork and cage. So it very much looks like a bottle of champagne. And so we have 2 different ones we're getting ready to release. We don't have a tap room because that was an additional investment that we didn't want to necessarily make, especially at the beginning of COVID. So we're deciding that in a few weeks, I think we'll release our first few batches, and we're going to release them through Jailbreak. Even though Jailbreak's a completely separate brewery, we'll release the Implexum beers through Jailbreak, just to give it an outlet for people to be able to come and try it out or take some home.
Cool. And I know our friend Esther who's watching, so she's super excited. She's probably going to come drink several thousand of those gallons for you, because she's a huge sour fan and just a great friend of Maryland craft beer. So yeah, Esther, I knew you were going to love that as soon as you heard it. So you said the releases will be probably in a few weeks. Implexum actually has a Facebook page and everything, correct? Or yeah,
I believe
right
so.
now.
Yeah, we don't have much. Yeah, I think we may have an Instagram and maybe a Facebook and maybe a very kind of generic website that we built. I wouldn't say this is an underground project, but we want this to look and feel completely different than Jailbreak. Jailbreak's big, and we have our marketing team, and we have all these components, and we have like our artist for all of our can work is the official artist of the Big Lebowski.
Oh,
I don't know if you know that, but yeah, Bill Green, he's out of Los Angeles. He's the one that does artwork for the Lebowski Fest and everything else. That's why we have a lot of Lebowski themed beers. But it is. I mean, there's a lot of fun energy that goes behind Jailbreak, and with Implexum, it's just we want it to feel different. We don't want to have to. We just want to be able to put something out there in small, limited amounts, and just let the beer speak for itself without having to really kind of put too much branding behind it.
Yeah. Any hints as to what the first releases will be?
So we have a lambic style that we aged. I think it was aged 9 months, but aged about a year, and then aged an additional 9 months on Napa Valley Petite Syrah grapes. So it drinks a lot like a funky rosé. It's like, if you can imagine a rosé with a little bit of funk. When I say funk, it's got a little bit of that barnyard animal kind of thing going on with it. It's really kind of rustic. But if you like a rosé, I think you'll get into it. And then the second one is a blend. It's a Saison Brett and a blonde ale, and they're both. I think that one was, I don't know, 3-4 barrels worth. We blended it, and we had about 40 barrels to choose from, and only 4 made the cut for this one. And it's really has a number of Brettanomyces, PDO, and Lactobacillus. Different strains in there. So it's got a lot going on. Very complex, but it's more kind of stone fruit forward. Neither are very sour. So when we say barrel sours, none of these are mouth puckering sour. We have other ones for that, but these first styles are very kind of more complex, but tame.
Could you age them longer in your, like if you kept them in your wine cellar or something like that? Could you age them, or do you recommend drinking them fresh?
No, actually, I mean, most of these are meant to kind of put away. They will gain complexity over time. And so, yeah, I mean, these aren't meant to age like a Cabernet for, or a Bordeaux for, 30, 40, 50 years. But I think, if done right, they can improve for 3 to 5 years and hold up for 10 plus.
Wow. So there you go, friends. Buy a few bottles when they get released. Justin, how will people know, or should people follow Implexum or Jailbreak? Well, obviously both, but when the news of the release comes up, I guess if you follow one of those pages, odds are you'll know when the release happens.
Yeah, if you go to Implexum, Implexum, which is kind of Latin for complexity. So if you look up Implexum beer on Instagram or Facebook, you'll find it. It was originally called Implexus, US at the end. The problem we had is we went to trademark it, and we were denied because there is a wine made by Toad Hollow Winery in California called Amplexus. Oh. And Amplexus does not mean, that's with an A, and that does not mean intertwined or complex. It actually is a mating ritual for frogs.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and so they didn't want anyone confusing because we had a wine bottle. Anyone confusing their frog procreating wine with our very gently aged mixed firm beers. So they denied us. So we changed it to Implexum, and luckily for us, they both mean the same thing. So
See now just to get even with them, you need like something that's super funky and really off the charts, and call it Amplexus, or Lick the Toad.
lick the code, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll show them.
yeah, exactly. It'll be our little joke, but but it'll be fun. Friends, thanks for all your comments. As always, let us know what you're drinking. We're here to all have a virtual beer together, since we can't be in person, packing a great tasting room like the one at Jailbreak Brewing. So let us know in the comments what you're drinking. What are you up to, or what beers in your glass or now, Justin?
I'm getting ready. It's a White Russian. I'm getting ready to go to this
Okay.
Dust Till Dusk out here.
Bastard.
I know.
Right.
I'm going to be hammered by the end of this interview. No, it's so yeah. I had, but then again, I had a barrel sour before I had the White Russian, so I'm all over the map tonight.
Nice. I love it. Well, what's your you have some solid flagships that we talked about before, and a lot of great seasonals. What is your best-selling beer?
So by far, it's. I mean, well, I wouldn't say by far. I would say almost by far, it's Special Lady. We
Really?
used to make, we had Big Punisher, and then we came out with our West Coast IPA, which is called Poor Righteous.
Oh yeah.
And that did really well, but everyone was kind of moving slowly towards these hazy IPAs. They wanted more of this hop fruit and aroma and less of the bitterness.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is that all these breweries are putting these things out. They're in 16-ounce cans only, and it's $18 to $20 for a 4-pack. And so we kind of looked at our costs and looked at, all right, these very in vogue hops that people are using, people really go for, and we kind of figured it out in our head that this doesn't have to be this expensive. Mm-hmm. And hops became more available, and I wouldn't say cheaper, but more readily available. Mm-hmm. So we looked at Citra Lady. We love Mosaic hop, so we decided to kind of create a true hazy. And there's a number of breweries like big macro, I wouldn't say macro, but big regionals that are making what they call a hazy IPA, but they're really not a true hazy IPA. Mm-hmm. And so we decided that we would put them in 12-ounce 6-packs, and we would, charge $12 or $13, about the same price as our Big Punisher. And we would allow people to get more volume of a real hazy beer for a cheaper price.
Yeah.
It was frowned upon in our industry to do that because, this looks and tastes exactly like what we're making as a hazy. So why the hell are you selling it so cheap? Why not? I mean, it doesn't have to be expensive. And we make 16-ounce hazy IPAs, and we do sell them for $16 or $18 a 4-pack. But that's when we go out and we get, hops that are more expensive, or maybe we don't have a contract for them, so we have to go out on the spot market and buy them. Or we'll make a double IPA version of it. But Special Lady almost overnight took off. And because of that, we actually pulled back from Big Punisher. We decided to not make it year round. We'd only make it once every 3 months. Mm-hmm. And because unfortunately we are stuck in the world of distribution. Yeah. And the last thing distributor wants is variety. They're like, whoa, they came in 2, 3, 4 beers, and then you're blowing their mind. They're like, whoa, this is a lot of beer for us to kind of wrap our head around. 4 different beers of yours we got to go out and sell. So they kind of handcuffed us. So we were, so we basically have to bring our best 4 players to the field, if you will. Mm-hmm. Monkey continues to just be huge for us. I mean, Monkey is, we used to think Monkey, the fad would go away. It did. We used to think that, well, come winter time, people are going to drink less wheat beer. It never slows down. Yeah. So that we Monkey is not far off Special Lady.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Wow. I wouldn't have thought that at all.
Oh,
that's crazy.
I see Bo Jones is drinking an EQ tonight.
There you go. Yeah. Let us know what you think about that one, Bo. Yeah. Love to hear your feedback. So yeah, got a lot of people drinking jailbreak beers tonight. Um, friends, if you haven't tried some of these, like Special Lady Friend, Poor Righteous, Feed the Monkey. I know Steve and Stephanie have some Infinite Amber tonight. Man, get out and try them. They're, and Justin, that's one of the things I love is, you're the distribution footprint that Jailbreak has and has had in the state has been outstanding because I can walk into almost any liquor store and find Jailbreak beer of some sort or another. And side note, thanks for making six packs.
Oh,
I love the six packs. You don't get them. You don't see them that often anymore. But yeah, occasionally, like I'll go through a 4-pack of something and go, "Wow, I wish I had a little bit more of that." Or I'll end up like giving some away, and it's like, "Oh, I don't. I now have one left." But yeah, so I love the smaller cans and the 6-packs. So thank you for making those.
no, I think the industry is going back to it. I think we saw this huge kind of a fad with 16-ounce 4-packs, and
Yeah.
when we started off, we were canning right off the bat, and there was really only us and Union, and I think DC Brow was also in the area. Everyone else was bottling, and
Yeah.
man, was it hard to go out to restaurants and retailers and say, "Hey, we got these cans." They're like, "No one buys cans." That's, and if you're going to sell us cans, you got to give it to us in 30 packs, and it can't be more than like $18 a 30 pack. We're like, oh my God, this is it was an uphill battle. And so, but we kind of, along with a few others that were canning, kind of fought the good fight. Since then, you've seen the larger breweries in the state, like Flying Dog does a little bit of canning. Heavy Seas cans quite a bit more now. Duclaw moved from bottles to cans, and so I mean, it was a tough road. But then we started seeing that the young brewers were kind of standing out and had their stuff stand out on the shelves by offering these 16-ounce cans.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of the industry, a lot of the brewers were banking on the fact that people would drink their beer just because it's local. And I'm not a big fan of that. You should drink it because you should think about local quality, and those things have to go together. If it's just local but it's shit beer is still shit beer. And if it's a great beer from across the country, that still qualifies as a great beer.
Yeah.
So I think that, and then so once people started, brewers started figuring out that people really support local, then they started raising their prices. I'm not saying that any brewer out there, trust me, no brewer is getting rich off making beer. That just is not a reality. I don't care if you're Dogfish or if you're whoever else. Well, Dogfish just sold to Boston beer, so maybe Sam's doing okay. But yes, I mean, I think that for us, we were really consistent with most of our offerings were going in 12-ounce cans, and now we're starting to see this kind of trend back. People are starting to get a little exhausted of hazy IPAs, because where it used to be unique. Now you go to a bar, you go to a brewery, and if they have 16 draft lines, 15 of them are either a hazy IPA or a fruited sour, and they might have one token something like a Dunkel or something, So people are getting a little exhausted of the styles, at least the lack of variety, and they're getting a little exhausted of the price points. So we're starting to see this shift back to 6-packs, even though like people will spend now. They used to only spend 10 or 12. Now they'll spend 15 or 16 on a 6-pack. You're still getting more volume. That's still a lot more beer and a lot cheaper than, 4 16-ounce beers for $20.
That's
we'll see.
Oh man. Well, cool, man. I love it. Yeah, I love the 6-packs. So we talked a bit about mentioning shit beer, and you happen to be drinking a fantastic one in your glass right now. So I'll ask you a couple of the questions we ask everyone who's on the show. What is there a beer that you've had that just stands out in your mind as something that just blew your mind, amazing, just really stands out to you?
You know what? On the dark beer side, I love Now, again, some of these aren't local, but Old Rasputin.
Mm.
Love North Coast makes them. Old Rasputin makes a ridiculously good Russian imperial stout.
God, forgot
Um,
about that one. Mm.
it's good. I mean, it'll make you
Yeah.
sweaty after a few, but man, it's good. On the lighter side, I've always enjoyed a good, just nitro pour of Guinness.
Mhm.
It's one of those rare dark beers where you can drink 2 or 3 cans and you don't feel heavy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are 2 dark beers from a larger, either not local or larger macro perspective.
Yeah.
But there's some really good dark beers. I mean, I always get the guys from other half always send me all their pastry stouts.
Mhm.
There's some of them are. I would say if I had one of their 22-ounce beers, it's very nice to share with about 15 to 18 people.
Yeah.
Anything more than an ounce or 2, and I'm just tired. I sleep for 3 to 5 days. But they're interesting. But some of these people, I see some people that are drinking these big 800,000 calorie stouts, and they'll put down 3 or 4 of them. Oh my God, bless them, man! It's like how many cans of SpaghettiOs were they eating as a kid? Growing up. I mean, you built an intolerance for these things. But yes, I mean, I like their pastry stouts, what they do. But honestly, I love good lagers, good pilsners. I haven't had a chance to try many, but what I've tried from Silver Branch out in Silver Spring, I think it's Silver Spring,
Yes.
but Montgomery County. They're taking a focus on making lagers, which I really appreciate. And I've been known to drink more than a few Stellas in my life as well. So again, I'm not anti big beer. But I really enjoy supporting vast majority of my beer I drink is local.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm such a Maryland fanboy with my beers, and the variety is so much that I find that's all I end up buying, and then I forget about these fantastic beers that are available outside the state. Things like Old Rasputin or like Racer 5. I just rediscovered again, and it's like, damn, that's such a good beer that I forgot all about it. There's a lot out there that I always forget about just from supporting Maryland so much.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of great beer, and I see Jessica's drinking a Black is Beautiful. That was a fun one to make. The background on that is that one of the breweries, kind of came out with the Black is Beautiful because of the ongoing situations these days and the racial injustices that we're seeing. We decided, the brewers decided to kind of make a beer and kind of standing in solidarity. But the labels would all look the same, but the recipes could be tweaked. And so our brew crew is really good about coming up with something that's very uniquely them. So I got to try about 3 or 4 different Black is Beautiful beers locally, and brewers did a fun job with them. I mean, some went way out there, and some went very traditional, and some went way, heavy and more of that dessert forward. We see a lot of, if you're looking to invest in something right now, I'll give you a hint for everyone listening. If you're listening and you're looking, a few bucks in the bank and you're looking to invest it somewhere, lactose.
Okay.
Breweries are sucking up all the lactose. There's not going to be any milk sugar left on earth by the time us brewers get done with it.
So do I have to have a field of cattle?
Yeah, if you want to buy some cattle, if you can produce lactose, I mean, I think that's the next thing is we always talk about locally made hops, locally made malts. No one's talking about locally made lactose. Yeah, right there. I give you if you decide to do something with that, just break me off a small percentage. I'm fine with that.
I was going to say I need an angel investor for that one, but hey, I'll look after cows. It's okay. I can make a jailbreak and look after cows too, especially after the week I had. Trust me. And it's only Thursday. Oh man. All right. So, and it's funny you talked about the Black is Beautiful. Friends. Most of the ones that I had were things like imperial stouts and things like that. I think we talked about Silver Branch. I actually had one from Silver Branch. It was a black IPA. That was pretty interesting. I don't know if it was probably Brett's best work, but yeah, just sort of all over the place, like Justin said, as far as what everybody kind of did with it. So on the flip side of things, oh yeah, okay. So Marcy says she's had 6 Blackest Beautifuls from Maryland breweries so far. Missed out on the Saints Row too. Yeah, I'm sure Tony probably killed that one too. He makes amazing stuff on a 1.5 barrel system. So yeah, I imagine that was fantastic. Yeah. So okay. So on the flip side, we talked about the best beer you've ever had. What do you think has been the worst beer you've ever had? If you need a second, I can fill and tell you what my 2 were, or my 2 worst ones were, if you need the kill time.
Well, first off, before we go to the worst, we have to congratulate. I'd be remiss if I didn't congratulate. Every year, the Great American Beer Fest is held in Denver. And every year, Maryland gets their asses kicked, mostly by West Coast breweries. And, pretty much there's 4,000 breweries that compete with, 10, 12, 15,000 beers, whatever that is. This year, they had to do it virtually. They couldn't have a big festival, but everyone submitted their beers. We haven't submitted in a few years. I think it's just because of timing for us. We did win a gold medal our first year there with Van Dammit.
That's right. Oh, man.
I
forgot about that. Yeah.
I did a little selfish plug there if you saw that.
Van Dammit, totally worth it. God, that's a fantastic beer.
We kept getting blanked. I mean, we were like, we had Union won a gold one year, and then like 2 years later, we'd won, but we were the only medal winner in Maryland of anything. Gold, I mean, all the categories, the only medal winner at all was us that year. And I think a couple years later, Independent, I think, won a medal. But this year, Maryland, from what I understand today, 1623 won a fruit beer medal. I don't know which medal they won, but I do know that the Saison style Silver Branch, I think, won a gold medal.
Yeah. Silver Branch won gold for
Saison, right?
Yes, American Saison. 1623 came in second in the fruited ale category for their watermelon cream ale, I think is what that was. Which coincidentally was amazing off the tank. I got a taste of that one when it was first brewed, and unbelievable off the tank. So I can only imagine what the judges could have been tasting, or what more they could have been tasting to get up to the first place. But and Brett down at Silver Branch just killing it. I actually got to hang out with him for an afternoon one time, and just a real beer geeky kind of guy, but man, makes fantastic beer as well. So do you guys ever think you'd do a collaboration or anything?
We could. I mean, I used to work with Brett when he was running a beer program for Republic in Tacoma Park. Part of Black's Restaurants Group. But he took a chance with that. And we've had some collabs. I mean, we just released yesterday our second collab with Sapwood Cellars, and they're out of Columbia. We've done Crooked Crab. We've done one. We've done one of our dark beers was with Evil Twin. So we've done some collabs. Not as many as we'd like, but we're doing more and more now. Ever since our head brewer kind of was promoted to brewmaster a little over a year ago, about a year and a half ago, our beer styles, our varieties changed, and kind of our openness to kind of get outside the box and collaborate more. I think it takes a lot of time and energy and kind of shifting of focus to be able to kind of create a collaboration beer, but it can be fun. Well, and it should be fun. And so, but yeah, I would love to make a beer with Brett and his team. They make some great stuff.
Yeah. If you could do a collab with anybody, who would it be? Like, who would be your dream collaboration?
I would say probably, I would love to do, it would be great to do one with Cantillon. If I were, something overseas, just on a barrel sour. But I think I have a lot of respect. We talked about earlier. I have a lot of respect for Jeff out of Jester King for what he's been doing. Out in Texas, in Austin, he's a farm brewery that's making all wild ales, and he makes a few other normal beers as well. But he's been a great resource for us too, helping us out with our program. And I would say if I was going to do a collaboration, it'd be someone I know and respect, and Jeff that's Jester King would definitely be one of them.
Yeah, really. Oh,
Anybody but a hazy IPA. Anyone, if you're specializing in hazy IPAs, it's I don't think there's anything anyone can bring to the table that's really going to be a unique twist on a hazy IPA. I think everything's been done.
Yeah. I think I could probably get behind that. For me, a lot of them, and it's just as an odd side note, a lot of them for me taste like dish soap. And the theory I actually was working on, that I've had a couple of people confirm that I might be onto something. So the whole thing about cilantro, where some people either love it or it tastes like soap. Well, I happen to love it, but like my wife and daughter, to them it tastes like soap. And I'm thinking hops are doing the same thing. And so things I've noticed, like Idaho 7, Vic Secret, and gosh, I don't know. There's a couple others I've pinned down that every time I see a beer with those hops in it, I know that it's going to taste like soap to me for some reason. And it's funny because I've run into other people that are the same way. Whereas other people will taste the same beer and go, "Wow, that's full of fruit and pineapple and all kinds of crazy stuff." And it's like I don't taste any of that. That's sort of the one thing that really piques my interest on hazies these days, is to try and figure out if I'm the only one who's like that. Yes, exactly. Our friend Brendan O'Leary from True Respite is joining us. The cilantro effect. Yeah, he and I were the one that were talking about it a while ago, and so yeah, it's we think it's a real thing. We'll have to check it out, friends. If you happen to find IPAs to be a little soapy or anything, let me know. Drop me a line. I'm sort of curious to see if we can compare notes and see if we might be onto something.
Well, we used to have the cilantro. I mean, we used the cilantro in our Scoville.
Yes.
So people who there'd be a small camp, 10% or so, that would say, we never meant the beer to be spicy. It's always been about featuring the freshness of the jalapeno.
Yeah.
But about 10% of the crowd will say, like, yeah, man, it's like a little soapy and this and that, and we use a good bit of cilantro in there. So, yeah, like, what are you gonna do? It's in a lot of these hop varietals, they give you different things. Like I think it fell out of favor and now it's back in favor a bit, is Simcoe.
Mm-hmm.
More often than not, regardless of the vintage or the batch, it can be very much like cat piss. And for me, some people get into that. I don't mind grassy, but yeah, when it gets to that really litter box little issue, I'm not a big fan. But people will laugh at me. Nelson Sauvin, like, I'm not a fan of Nelson Sauvin. It's funky and dirty, and it's just a sweaty sock and a little pissy as well. I'm just not a fan, but Nelson's one of the most coveted hops out there. Go figure.
Yeah. And Brendan says he misses Scoville so badly.
Yeah, you and I both. Yeah. We'll bring it back in the spring. We only make that beer when we can get locally sourced jalapeno peppers.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of the thing, is that we have to wait for pepper season.
Yeah. It's funny. We're talking about Scoville. The regular listeners will know the number one spot on my worst beer list was actually one from Ballast Point. And for whatever reason, nothing ever appealed to me from Ballast Point anyway. But the one that wins was something, we actually looked it up. It was a Belgian style something, but it was called Thai Chili Wahoo. And it smelled and tasted like Noxzema skin cream with a side effect of strep throat. And and God, it was terrible. It was one of those, they should have just poured it out. I'm sure somebody at Ballast Point said, "Well, we just brewed 100 barrels of it. Bottle it. Somebody will buy it anyway." And that's I think what ended up happening. But I never found that with Scoville. Scoville was actually, I think, probably one of the first spicy beers that I had tried. And I was hesitant because I like spice in my food, but not a whole lot. And was a little nervous when I saw jalapeno on it, but to taste it, was like a nice little finish to it without it really burning your mouth out, like so many people I think thought may have happened. But
well, it's supposed to be. It's all about, like, Scoville's about the freshness. We want garden fresh.
Yeah.
Now we make an Imperial Scoville, so we'll amp it up to 9 and 9.5%. We'll use
Oh, really?
Thai peppers.
Okay.
I mean, because on the Scoville scale, jalapenos are really low. I mean,
Yeah.
really low.
Or like 5,000 or something like that.
Yeah. Like it's very mild. You amp it up much more when you go with chili peppers, and then you get a habanero as well. And we've made some habanero casks of that beer, but we made a full batch once and canned it of the Thai pepper, and it's great because the double IPA. It has richer malt, so it really carried the heat better. It had like a sweet to the spice, but you drink 3 or 4 of them, and you're going to want to call in a little late the next morning.
Yeah.
So no, they're great. I mean, to your point of bad beers. Oh, thank you, Bren. Yeah, thank you. It's we love our pepper beers. There's a couple of them that were rough. In fact, that two things come to mind. One was I remember when I was getting into craft beer. There is a beer from BrewDog, and they came as like a polar penguin or a comic penguin or these little bottles, these tiny bottles. I don't know. They were like 8-ounce bottles or something. And I went to one of my local stores. It was Fish Paws, and it was like $24 for this little bottle. Yeah. And they're like, the guy there, he's really the beer nerd there. He was really selling it to me. He was like, man, this is like next level. I was like, all right. Well, what the hell? $24, whatever it is. So I picked it up. I took it home and called my now business partner. I said, yeah, come over and try this thing. All right. Open this little thing up, and it was, I would say it's like a locker room, but it's much worse than that. It's just like, if your friend went to the bar and he passed out at the bar and he went out behind a dumpster and passed out on Friday, but he was so drunk he actually stayed there till Monday. Yeah. The trash had been taken away and picked up and dropped off a few times at that point. It was one of the worst beers I've ever had, and it happened to be one of the most expensive beers outside of like a wild ale that I've ever purchased. Yeah. So that was, I would say, that's probably 2 in the list. The number 1 is, and I hate to say it because he's a good friend, but and it wasn't necessarily the taste of the beer; it was the concept. Oh. My friend Yepa made a beer with Chick-fil-A nuggets in it. Okay. He brewed them with Chick-fil-A nuggets. I don't know why he would do such a thing, but he did it. And I mistakenly took it out of his fridge, and I was drinking it. It wasn't so bad. I'm like, "What's this one?" He's like, "Oh man, that's my Chick-fil-A beer." And I'm like, really? What the hell is that? I didn't hear about this. And I immediately just poured it down the drain. I'm like, I don't want any beer that's been brewed with chicken. I mean, I don't get it. So that was the worst in concept, and I think that BrewDog was the worst in actual execution. Yeah.
So it's funny. My number 2 has a meat product in it. It was a beer for breakfast from Dogfish Head. They made it with meat. Yeah, with Scrapple. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like Scrapple. But yeah, in the beer, it just turned into this like weird greasy thing. I don't know. I hated it. I even had friends try and trick me into liking it. I couldn't do it.
Well, you know what? I had McKellar's beer that made they made the brunch, the Weasel. It's the Weasel eats the coffee cherries and then poops it out, and then they scoop it up and brew with it.
I was going to say Cape Luau or something like that.
But it was the Weasel.
Something like that. Yeah.
It was a damn good beer though.
Was it?
I was like, man, this may be whatever it is. This may be Weasel shit in this beer, but that's good. I'll take it. Hopefully you can edit my words. Sorry, I
Oh no, it's all good. This is the beauty of Justin Bonner. This is the Justin I like.
It's the Justin talking.
Oh man, yeah, friends, definitely let us know what some of your worst beers are. Let us know in the comments. We're always curious to hear what we get. We get some interesting ones week after week. Phineas points out that pepper beers can go so wrong so quick. Definitely prefer them in darker beers though. And I don't know if they still have it, but Milkhouse Brewing out there in Mount Airy, which is a small farm brewery, for those of you who may not be familiar, did a hot pepper or a jalapeno IPA, I think. But they ended up stripping out the seeds and chiseling away some of the veins on it. So you end up with a little bit of heat, but really nice pepper flavor in there. So it's got that, the nice um, green flavor in it as well that I highly recommend. If they have some, I'll have to like grab you a crowler and bring it on over to Jailbreak, and just so you can try it. But they may be out by now.
I love that.
Yeah. Um, okay. Our friend Kendrick says he finally got on. Well, it's about damn time. As always, friends, check out mdcraftbeer.net. Our friend Kendrick, who just got on, is a wonderful friend of Maryland beer, and has an awesome spreadsheet and database of every Maryland brewery, and it's sortable by area. You can find out things like does the brewery have outdoor seating? Are they pet friendly? All that good stuff is right there, mdcraftbeer.net. So Justin, we were talking about outdoor seating at breweries, especially now during COVID. And you guys have a really sizable tasting room and a food like a restaurant facility that's there. How has COVID kind of affected what you guys do? Have you had to pivot your customer experience much?
Yeah, I mean, we've gone from an environment where it was kind of that fast casual food on the food side. Just go up, you get a buzzer, you order this food. Everything's made fresh in house. It's all a lot of local ingredients, nothing frozen. I mean, so the food's really good, but it's still fast casual. We like our facility indoors holds about 250 people, but we only ever had maybe 90 seats. That means that 2/3 of the people there are really standing and mingling.
Mm.
And it's such a great energy. It's everything when we built the tap room, when we designed the tap room down to every last little detail. It was with that energy in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then, thank you very much, Marcy. Yeah, I mean, we had to shift. I mean, we got a 3,200 square foot tent out in the parking lot. Our neighbors were really cool about that.
Oh.
And I got about 20 some tables out there, and then we had this kind of space inside, and now we're offering table service. And I got to say, our front of house staff is really, really good. I mean, some of the folks there haven't even come from a restaurant background, but they get it. We have a lot of new people on board, and a lot of young energy that is. They're eager to just talk about the beer and kind of make sure the customer's having a great experience. But I'm also very much looking forward to going back to the old way, because with table service and the way everything is now, it's not the energy we want. It's not the energy we envisioned. And while it's a very good version of what it is, and if you can come for the first time, you probably wouldn't even understand what I'm talking about. It would just seem very natural that what we're doing now is a natural thing. It's not the vibe that that really excites me about being in our tap room. And then obviously the events are gone, and the big happy hours are gone, and we can't have these. I mean, so we had no anniversary party this year. We had no Lebowski Fest. We had no Oktoberfest. And all these things that really kind of like, we just, that really draws people out. It's just not there. And so it's kind of like, it's like, I would say it's kind of like, I don't know, like maybe a great running back being on the bench, for the season with an ACL tear. Like, he's still on the sidelines. He's still there, and he's still motivating the players, and he's a good captain, and, he's out there, and everything's good from that standpoint. It's just, there's no replacement. There's no replacing him being on the field and really kind of showing off the best of his abilities.
Mm.
So I think that's kind of where our tap room is now. But again, with that said, like, I'm so grateful for our staff and how they've adapted, and the level of service they provide. And I think what we're doing now is, and it's still a great crowd there. It's just different.
Yeah.
It's a long-winded answer. Everything I do is a long-winded answer.
No, that's good. And you mentioned your staff. All the times I've been to Jailbreak, I've never had a problem with the staff. They've always been super friendly. They're just like on the ball for getting a drink in your hand and getting you taken care of and just done with a smile. And man, whoever does the hiring at your place just does an excellent job. Like I say, just a really stellar staff makes a wonderful beer experience.
Oh, thank you. It's I'd love to take credit for it, but no, I actually do very little at the brewery. It's all the division heads, department heads do a really, really good job. I trust them all.
Yeah.
And, though with that said, I do, when they see me, when I walk through our tap room, I walk through any area of our company, I always find things that should be done a little bit differently. You can always tweak things a little more. And I just try to deliver that message in a way that's, still positive, but also they know it's coming from the heart, and it's nothing more than just, hey, we can do better.
Yeah.
We can do more. So, but yeah, there's always some, I always see something.
Well, and a lot of people in the comments are saying they love the outdoor space and it's been fantastic and everything. So, so it sounds like, what everything that makes Jailbreak great in the tap room is being translated outside as well. So, so yeah, keep it up on your end. And Marcy says that she actually was responding to another comment, but that she'll be there tomorrow. So what's with Marcy probably not having been there before, what's a great beer for her to start with? What's a great introduction for who Jailbreak Brewing is?
Well, definitely, I would definitely tell you, Marcy, on a Friday, regardless of what time of the day, definitely call for a reservation. You can sit indoors or out. So we have plenty of all the distancing in place, and all of our, people are really good wearing masks, and we have a huge high ceiling. So it's a very open space. So long as you're okay with old school hip hop. Sometimes we have some older people come in and they are not, maybe not used to old school hip hop. And they ask us to change the channel. We love this. And they make a request, we're karaoke or something. Hey, I really like this, but do you have anything from, I don't know, Conway Twitty? I'm we don't have any Conway Twitty, unfortunately. It's not, so I always tell them we only pay for 2 brands of music here. And then if we want Conway Twitty, we're going to have to pay another $2,000 a year subscription for Conway Twitty station. But if you're trying this for the beers, your first time there, I would say at least go inside. You'll use the bathrooms inside. So at least get a feel, the inside experience of what it is, because so much of us and our personalities reside in that tap room. And from a lot of local art, or locally made art, to a lot of kind of the things that inspire us, you'll see a lot of our musical influence in our tap room. We're big hip hop, old school hip hop fans and Sublime heads, and you'll see we're blues fans, and so you'll see those things everywhere. So at least go inside and check it out. Drink a few extra beers, and then you'll be forced to go to the bathroom and check it out. I would say we have a variety. That's what I love about the beers we make, is that, I think we have 20 beers on, I think right now. I think 4 of them are hazy IPAs. I would say 1 or 2 are fruited kettle sours. I think we're down to only 1. Maybe we'll put a new one on as our craft seltzers, which are not the clear white claw things you think of. These are, I'll just say I'm not the proudest of making these things, but damn it, people buy the shit out of them. So we have some really cool, interesting seltzers. We have, a Hefeweizen, we have an amber, we have, our lager, we have, West Coast IPA, you name it. We have a lot for a lot of people. And I'm really proud of our brew crew for being able to take these very technically difficult styles. When you take all the hops and pull everything back, and you've got to just make a true traditional style of beer, you can't run from the flaws. You could make the worst Berliner Weiss in the world. It could taste like just I don't know, bad. Let's just say that. I could use a lot of adjectives. It could just be a really, really poorly made Berliner Weiss.
Yeah.
But when you throw all this fruit puree on top of it, it's going to taste like whatever the fruit tastes like. So it's really hard to hide mistakes in a really traditionally made beer. So I would say one of the things I'm most proud of is I love our lager. Yeah. So definitely try the lager. try the monkey if you've never had the monkey. If you had the monkey, it's great. But I mean, the monkey is one of the ones that I reach for on a regular basis. So there's a lot. I would just say that buy some sandwich. We used to do flights, but now with COVID, we don't do flights. We do basically small pours that you can buy fairly inexpensive. So we no longer do our flights right now. But try everything out, I'd say. See, I'm like an old man. Imagine how long my stories are going to be when I'm like 80.
I love it.
Sit on a park bench. I'm never going to let you leave because I'm just going to tell. Yeah.
No, I love it. It's fantastic. We've had other guests that gave me one-word answers. It's like, okay. So, no, and of course everybody loves somebody with a great personality, and I always try and find people that I really enjoy. And God, I haven't talked to you in forever, but every time I have, I've always enjoyed your passion and in your stories and things like that. And so I'm really thrilled to have you on. Steve also says, make sure you try the Infinite. Steve, I think you guys are trying that for the first time tonight. So you guys might need to get up to Laurel tomorrow afternoon or over the weekend to check it out. As Justin said, make sure you make a reservation if you go. That's also for you, Marcy, even though I know that I now know that you are a regular, or at least have not been since COVID. But so if you're planning to go, make sure you get a reservation. All that information you can find it at the on their Facebook page, or give the brewery a call, I guess. Justin, any hints as to future beer releases that are coming out? Anything we can look forward to?
I'm glad you asked that, because I was just actually thinking that, we just had a sit down today because my brewmaster is in less than 2 weeks now. He'll be taking off a few weeks. He's having his first child.
Oh,
well, actually, his wife's giving birth to the child, but he's going to be there as well. So he's going to take off a few weeks. So we're trying to get all the ducks in a row, make sure the brew team and the packaging team, they're all like, everything's good. So one of the things we went over are where are our core beers, like how is everything, packaging schedule, what are the new beers? I was like, listen, I know we talk about the new beers. I usually do all the naming and artwork for all the beers. Like, at least I have the concept. My artist brings these ideas to life. But so I want to make sure I have everything that's upcoming that we've worked with marketing to make sure that labels are made, all this stuff. So we have our next seltzer is, God, it's awful. I don't want to admit it. But we make a really good, pretty clean seltzer in house. And then this is going to be called Maid. So tropical punch Maid. I'm not going to say anything else. You kind of know what it's going to taste like. And what I'm telling you is it tastes exactly like the thing that you think it is. Dead on. You wouldn't know the difference. If you were to try the thing you're thinking of in this particular seltzer and you put them back to back, you would be like, one has alcohol and one doesn't. I have no clue. It tastes the same.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We have that coming up. We have a Strata Lady Friend. These are all things that are coming up in the next month, or 4 to 6 weeks. Some as early as next week. We have a new oats and our oats and series are big dessert stouts. This is oats in Samoas and stuff. So all the things you think about in a particular cookie, a certain cookie, you'll get all those base ingredients are all in there. We've got a wood conditioned dark lager. So we made a dunkel. We aged them in 12 different barrels, some rye, some whiskey, a few rum. And we didn't age them, really. We conditioned them. When we say that, we're not really looking for age. This is probably only going to be conditioned for 3 to 4 weeks in barrel to get a little something extra. I'm really excited. I tried it today. I think it's going to be great. Called Laid to Rest. That's coming out. We have our very popular Fall Funk. And our Fall Funk series is our fruited sours. This particular one has a massive amount of local apple cider with some fall spices in our Berliner Weiss. So, that was one we made that we were just trying to get away from. We try to get away from this just dump fruit on Berliner Weiss and put it in a can. So with that said, we're also going to be coming out probably 3 weeks after that will be our Spruce Lee we're bringing back. So it's cranberry and spruce tips in our funk.
Okay.
Spruce Lee Funk. And yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming up. We just released our collaboration double IPA with Sapwood, which is really cool. If you go online or on Facebook, you can read about the process. But it was a really cool, kind of geeky process to make the beer. It's not just your regular hazy double IPA. It was a lot of funky stuff in the making of it that I don't even understand. But it's there. It's, so you can check it out. Other than that, I don't know. We've got, and then our annual release of Dusk Till Dusk will be out probably a few weeks before Christmas. And then, of course, our White Russian release. The White Russian release, I think it happens tomorrow or Saturday. I don't know when I think it's tomorrow. I don't know. Go on Facebook. No one tells me anything. But I know it's made and it's ready and it's damn delicious. So get you some White Russian.
That beer really brings the room together, man.
It really does, man.
I love it. I see the comments lighting up for everybody who's already planning to camp out and stand in line, probably starting Monday. Just even if it's a few weeks that we got to wait, I think I will be there with them to check out the Dunkel and the sours and everything, man.
Oh, and Cafe in Brussels too. Well, we're going to be Cafe in Brussels will be most likely January. And I forgot to mention, we are doing as we do this time every year, we do the Van Dammit. And then we also do, in collaboration with Downtown Crown and Gaithersburg, we do the Christmas Dammit. It's Christmas Dammit. And that's more of the Christmas spices. And that is only sold at our place and at Downtown Crown.
Hmm. Oh, man.
We got a lot going on.
Jeez, that's awesome. Oh, man. Well, cool deal. So you can, so friends, like Justin says, he's got a lot of great beers coming your way. Like I say, I will be right there in line with all of you to check these out, especially the Dunkels. Those sound really interesting. I like the tweaks on that. I don't know that I've ever had one like that. So really interested to try that. Of course, almost anything out of a barrel, I'm lining up for anyway. I just love them so much. Is there a let's see? Is there let's see. I kind of lost my place here. I'm sitting here reading through the comments. Yeah, Downtown Crown is 10 minutes from me. Oh man, I am quite jealous of that. I need to come visit you guys more often, Steve. So like I say, we're you're celebrating 7 years in business now. You're putting out a really solid lineup of beers, a great footprint all across Maryland at local retailers. What advice do you have for somebody who might be looking to start a brewery, or at least get into the craft beer industry?
I mean, it's a tough industry. I mean, things have changed and things are very fluid in our industry. So what was when you started a brewery 7 years ago, as we did, if you were to come in 1 year later, your strategy would be completely different, and 1 year after that, completely different. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's just if my biggest advice for a lot of people wanting to get into brewing is that either really have a good feel on how to brew or hire someone who knows, and have a really good feel how to run a business. Because I think a lot of times we have a lot of garage brewers that have this dream and they've never really run a business. They don't know much about accounting or, marketing or sales or anything else, but they made a beer in their garage that someone said was amazing and they're going to start a brewery. And the problem is that, it's sad enough, sadly enough, I've talked to more than a few brewers who've had problems that have called me, and I said, well, send over your P&L statements, send over your balance sheets. And they're like, what's a P&L?
Oh, geez.
I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. So show me your accounting. Like, where are you losing and making money? They're like, well, how do you keep track of those things? Here's how much I pay for my ingredients of the beer. And I'm like, well, what about your leases? Like, well, that has nothing to do with the cost of beer. I'm like, sure it does. What about your electricity? That has nothing to do with the cost of beer. Everything has a cost. It's like, it's you're selling a product. Everything is a cost that goes into that. It's amazing. So I'd say really take some business courses or hire someone who is used to understanding the ins and out of a business. a business generalist who who has touched all areas of a business is a great person to have on board. But yeah, I mean, enjoy what you do. If you don't, if you're not going to enjoy what you do, then God, you're not going to make it rich on this business. So you better damn well enjoy every last minute of a brewery because, it's, I could be throwing newspapers on Sunday mornings and probably making twice as much as I do now. So you really have to enjoy it.
Well, there you go. Good advice. It's funny you mentioned that. I remember sitting with the owner of what is now a very well-known brewery in Richmond, and sitting there at a table with him, and he says, "Oh no, we'll never distribute more than a half mile from this spot." And I said, "Does your staff know that?" "What do you mean? How are you going to make money?" It's all about the beer, bro. Smash cut to a year later. They're like, "Hey, we're opening another location." And it's like, oh, somebody started looking at the books. Okay. So,
yeah, it's tough. But in the alcohol business, everything's tough. The winery is tough, a distillery is tough. Everything's tough. I mean, you're selling a product that, for the most part, at least in wine, you could sell it for, you may be able to sell for $100 or $200 a bottle if you get lucky, but then again, you're buying land and you're farming and everything else. So this is not like technology. This is not like pharmaceuticals. This is nothing like any of these things. The margins are very, very tight, and the best you can hope for is that you make a great product that's made well, and the general public, the consumer, gets what you're doing and appreciates it and buys. And it's, at the end of the day, it's a business of 1 6-pack at a time, 1 keg at a time. And, it's a beautiful thing though.
All right. Well, so we, to finish things off here, you mentioned you're a self-proclaimed great storyteller. We're wondering if there's a fantastic story from your time at the brewery that you can share with us, that won't incriminate or get anybody divorced.
Oh, geez. It's funny. There's a lot of interesting people I've met in this business, from other brewers to distributors to restaurant bar owners. There's just a lot of interesting people, a lot of really good people, a lot of people that have become very close friends. And like any industry, there's a lot of assholes too. There's a lot of people who are just, it's no matter what you do or what you make or what you say, it's not going to resonate. I always have a lot of fun. I don't do it as much anymore, but early on, when we first started the brewery, probably a year in, there's this thing called Untapped came out. Yeah. People are using this Untapped app. And it's like, oh man, this is a really cool app. And I'm like, and I started using it myself. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to keep track of these things. So I keep track of what I drink and if I like them or not. And, I would never really put a score in that often. Early on, I would used to put just like a note, like a thing, like a proprietary score to myself that only I might know. So I was like, who am I to judge other people on, what this is? Like, I just don't feel like I am experienced enough or a credentialed critic that I can be officially rating something that someone else makes. So the first year or two, like, it was this maniacal thing about watching these Untapped things, and just, I think my greatest bitterness turned into my greatest sense of entertainment, like after a year or two, because all the things that used to make me angry about Untapped, like I laugh now. Like if I want a good chuckle, like I'll tell my fiance, like, we got to go through this Untapped app, because hold on, it may take a few minutes, but we're going to find a really good one. Like this, your beer is death. Like, I was hospitalized for a week after drinking this beer. Like, we got, your beer tastes like urinal cakes. I don't know who's drinking urinal cakes.
Those do exist, friends.
Yeah,
those do exist.
It's rough. I mean, it's so we actually stopped. Like, I stopped looking at outside of entertainment. But it's there's a lot of good stories, but probably the best ones I'm gonna keep in the head. We'll talk about over a beer. You have to come by and bring our boy Kendrick with you, because I haven't seen his face in a few months. We'll have to get together and I'll tell you offline.
All right. That's a deal then. All right, so friends, again, make sure you stop by Jailbreak Brewing. Justin, how can people find your beer?
Um, well, if you go down to the end of your street, you make a left. It's anywhere between 2 and 12 miles. You'll make a right and a few other lefts, and you'll find something that no. You just go to jailbreakbrewing.com. Go to our Facebook page. We're in Laurel, so most people, the easiest direction I give people is we're across the street from CarMax.
Yeah.
We're very lucky to be right off 95, so right where 95 and 32 meet. So the easiest way to find all of our beers is always to just come to our place. A lot of half our beers aren't distributed. Or we have a lot of great retailers throughout Maryland, DC, Northern Virginia. If you live in Montgomery County, we always say like downtown Crown, places like that do a great job. Yeah, I would say but we come by the place. I mean, if you're there during a weekday, ask for Justin. I'm usually around during the weekdays, except for maybe Friday afternoon. So I love coming out and hanging out and having a beer.
Cool, man. Yeah, and friends, make sure you follow them on Facebook and on Instagram. They have a wonderful social media feed that's full of great information on upcoming releases, events, things like that. Check all that out on, like I say, at Jailbreak Brewing on Facebook and Instagram. Justin, it has been a pleasure as always, my good man, and really appreciate you stopping in and talking to us tonight.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone for coming on and checking us out, and thanks for all the support. I mean, it's the folks like people that are here, listening and watching in that keep us in business. So it's in all of our local brewers in business. So thank you so much for all the support.
Cool deal. All right, so friends, make sure you ask for Justin if you're there through the week, and he's a great one to have a beer with. So thanks a lot for joining us, man.
Thank you.
All right. So, friends, that was Justin Bonner, our friend from Jailbreak Brewing in Laurel, Maryland. Like I say, you can find them at jailbreakbrewing.com. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram at Jailbreak Brewing. Be sure to give them a like, give them a follow. Really great stuff that comes through there. It's they're putting out solid beers, and they have put out solid beers for the 7 years that they've been in business. If you haven't tried them recently, try them again. Really great flagships, really great small batch stuff that Justin was talking about. Really solid beer. Give them a try. Like them on social media. Check them out at the brewery. Check them out at your local retailer. If you don't see them at your local retailer, be sure to ask for them. Friends, as always, be sure to support your local breweries. There's a lot of great people in a bad spot right now due to COVID. The saying I always tell everybody is tip like nobody is watching. As my friend corrected me, he says you should tip like everyone is watching. So tips like that to the brewing staff. If you're picking up beer at the brewery, tips like that for the brewing staff can go a really long way for a bunch of really great people. So friends, as always, I'll have some show notes on Frank About Beer's Facebook page tomorrow morning. As always, if you're looking for a great listing of Maryland beers, check out Kendrick's page at mdcraftbeer.net. He has a wonderful database that is a sortable list. He's done an awesome job with that to help you find a great brewery near you, or even Jailbreak Brewing. You can also, don't forget, kick a few bucks to our friends at the Brewers Association of Maryland, a nonprofit organization that helps breweries like Jailbreak Brewing. They've not been able to have their fundraisers this year, if you can kick a few bucks their way, or spend whatever you would spend on a six-pack, or even a ticket to one of their great fundraising events like the Maryland Craft Beer Festival or the Baltimore Craft Beer Festival, you can do that. They're on PayPal and BeerMe. I'll have a link to that in the notes tomorrow. They are at paypal.me/SofaSippin. And I don't remember what the BeerMe link is. It's a little bit long. As always, thanks for watching. Next week we're talking to the brewing staff from Antietam Brewery out in Hagerstown. another brewery that you should not sleep on. So definitely check that out. I actually need to announce that, so you are getting a sneak peek at that one too. Also, be sure to follow Implexum on Facebook as well. That is the sour beer project that Justin mentioned. Make sure you check that out. Follow them. They're going to be releasing some special bottles very, very soon. And I know everybody's going to love that one. So, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay patient, and thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. Cheers, everyone.